What is up? LSU Odyssey Oddcast Live. We're going to be recapping what went down with all of the madness last night. All of the madness. I've got the game up here. And, LSU. I came into the game a little hopeful. Okay. I came into the game very hopeful. I thought LSU, our defense is gonna smack them around. Kansas State are so one-dimensional on offense. Surely, if we stop Deuce Vaughn, we'll be good, right? And Deuce Vaughn absolutely tore us a new one. I mean, 148 yards or something like that. 144 or something. Let me look at that. Let's see. Deuce Vaughn, 146 net yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. We held him to -3 catching for receiving, and he still had a touchdown receiving on us. I did not expect 42-20. Did you expect 42-20? I know you didn't. One second, I have to unplug this real quick. But I know there's a lot of people expecting LSU to lose this game. No one expecting LSU to absolutely get throttled. Okay. The game was over quick. Okay. It was sad. It was sad to watch because the defense would have 2 or 3 really good plays, and we just could not get off third down. Skylar Thompson completed his first 8. I know for 100% fact he completed his first 8 third down completions, and they were converting on us on 4th down too, right on Todd Harris on that first drive, and then you saw them score on Todd on first to the right on 4th, and then to the left. And he gets juked out after the catch. The guy's gone. Kansas State are up 7-0. And it just seemed after that moment, Deuce Vaughn took over. At first, it seemed like they wanted to really shut down people like me who were saying this team has only thrown 11 total combined touchdown passes. Skylar Thompson's only thrown 9. Like, LSU's defense are going to be just fine in this game. And it seemed like they wanted to go out and show. And here's the thing. Good on you, Kansas State. You burned our 7th, 8th string guys. Good for you. You still couldn't throw a touchdown on Darren Evans. Okay? Darren Evans had a sick pass break up there in the corner of the end zone. If LSU had just had a little bit more depth, just a little bit more depth here, But then you go look at our offense, what we did offensively in this game. John Trey Kirkland was the quarterback. It was not a joke. This was reality now. Okay, there's a lot of things that we saw in that game last night that we will never see again. It wasn't just because of COVID that guys were gone. It wasn't just because of suspensions that guys were gone. It wasn't just because of opt-outs. It wasn't just because of it was a whole plethora of issues of why LSU's roster was so depleted. Academics, there was a major raid, as we could say, from the compliance department of just saying, nope, you're not going, you're not going, you're not going, you're not going. Micah Baskerville, this would have been his final LSU game. Not in there. Feel horrible for him. Cam Lewis as well. Feel horrible for him too. Dwight McLaughlin, this would have been a homecoming game in Houston for Dwight. Not there either. It's just the list goes on and on of guys it would have been great for LSU to have, could have made a difference. But going into this game, the tenets of what LSU were trying to do were simple. Go out there, get through this. No new injuries. See what we can do, see what different guys are made of, what they can bring to the table. And I think, LSU accomplished that. You saw them not even risk Jack Besh, who, as everyone has been saying now, and it has horribly been put out there, he's back and was kept from the game for a certain reason. I will not air, but certain reason, obviously. And I think it was wise, actually. Frustrating not to see Jack, but you know what? Let's keep him out of a game that's meaningless, and let's see what he. But at the same time, it would have been interesting to see what he could have done, help out John Trey. But all that was out there for the passing game were these long bomb plays that were all or nothing, either interception or touchdown. John Trey, three touchdown passes from John Trey Kirkland at quarterback. Completed 11 passes, but he threw 2 interceptions, just straight up what you would predict to be a wide receiver pass, just kind of hucked up there. But John Trey played with so much heart last night. 61 rushing yards as well, just doing these spin moves, 5.5 per carry. Taking a walloping. That game was physical, wasn't it? That game got violent fast. Kansas State brought the wood. They knew LSU were going to. And so you had 2 teams just grinding each other. You heard a lot of popping. And every time it was tough running for John Trey Kirkland, you were just hoping he would be able to get clean snaps. And then we'll take it from there. It was literally a second-by-second process as LSU Tigers fan. Just what the hell is this game going to bring? Just hoping there wasn't going to be a rash of in-game injuries. That's what you don't want to see, is when you just see one guy after another going down. And thank the Grey Ghost that we didn't see any new injuries, at least to my memory. I'm sure there were 1 or 2, but we just could not sustain anything on offense. Our running game, we just could not get it going against Kansas State. They were all over our simple, easy blocking schemes. Pete's reverted back to a lot of bad habits in the running game here, and it did not help Corey Kiner out whatsoever. Corey had some hard runs right through the gut where he's showing some agility in tight quarters, showing what he can do, some nice moves actually, while getting the crap knocked out of him. And this is a very valuable experience for Corey. Just taking those hits, being able to get through it and grind, and let's see what he had. He had, I know I put it up here, 54 yards, 14 carries, I believe. Let's take a look here. Yeah, he averaged 3.8 yards a carry, I believe. That's the other one. That's the thing. We saw Xavier Carter have a damn good game, that on defense. Xavier Carter, we got to have a fantastic extended look at him. There was so many Tigers that I was wondering who we're going to see, who we're going to get, what we're going to get from. We know what we're going to get from Corey Kiner. We've seen that throughout the season. So Corey, it was more about being able to have that breakout game. Sadly, the offensive line could not do it for him. But he still chalked up 54 yards and looked fantastic at the same time. Defensively, though, we saw some guys who, looking toward the future, I believe are going to be, very intriguing pieces for LSU. Xavier Carter off the edge, 4 tackles, 2 pressures, 1 tackle for loss. He looked fast, didn't he, off that edge? He looked like he was flying around, pinning his ears back, and straight up causing havoc. There were a few times where he was just a little bit late or couldn't quite get to the quarterback, but he was just damn near having about 5 or 6 pressures in the game. He was everywhere. and he was very entertaining to watch.
Late.
Very, he showed discipline. He showed versatility, and he was able to make a few, solo tackles on the edge that were very intriguing when you're talking about what he could be as not only a future prospect, but as a complete type of player. When you look at BJ Ojulari and the type of player he has become this season, Xavier Carter has those type of tools. He could definitely use with some thickness, but what we saw last night, I think was fantastic out of Xavier Carter. It was a joy to watch him. He's flying around, going after the quarterback, and a lot of what he was doing was causing the offensive line from Kansas State to have to go over to him, and meanwhile BJ Ojulari or Jaquelin Roy are getting in there, and so he was doing a lot of great things for the team. But I mean, you just look across the board though. This game was crazy. I mean, even Cade York was out of the game before it began. We didn't even have a kicker. This game was wild. We saw Avery Atkins make a tackle where they almost called it was a questionable potential targeting call, where he just sledgehammers this guy, preventing a touchdown on a kickoff return. It was just Avery Atkins, hilarious. And I bet if there was field goals, he probably would have taken them too. Avery Atkins playing in his final LSU Tigers appearance. What a career. What a fantastic career from Avery Atkins. Totally deserved number 18. Played like it last night. Played like it all last 2 seasons. Last 3 seasons. He's been incredible. Touchback machine. Avery Atkins, I salute you, my man. What a career. And, for Jontre Kirkland, for it being his last night, for his last game as a Tiger, I thought he put it all out there. He put it all out there, didn't he? And it was fun. It was fun. I mean, there were moments where it was just like, oh, this is just not looking good. And it's sad that because of the decisions of our previous head coach and his dumb staff, we have to put this type of pressure on Jontre's shoulders, on Choo Choo's shoulders. And, Choo, he went out there and he balled out. He straight up balled out. I don't care what anyone says. With knowing all of that was on his shoulders, he didn't want to go out like that. When it was still 42-14, he didn't want to go out like that. And no LSU fan wanted to go out like that either. That final play, 81-yard touchdown, flea flicker. Jack Mashburn takes the snap. I think reverses it to Josh Williams. Williams flips it back to Jontre. Jontre just uncorks the best long ball pass we've seen since Joe Burrow on this team. And Chris Hilton Jr. is wide open. Jontre hits him perfectly in stride. Chris is gone. And what's great is it ends with 000. Like if that pass is just a little bit off, Chris is getting tackled maybe. I mean, the dude is a fast burner. I don't want to say he's going to get tackled, but still, like you cause that player to come back, anything can happen with the ball in the air. Jontre put it just beautifully. Perfect touch. Right in stride. Hilton Jr. gone. First LSU touchdown. And it's the longest play LSU have had since Terrace Marshall had a 75-yard touchdown against Missouri in 2020. And, it's even 3 yards longer than Jamar Chase's longest play from 2019, which was the longest play receiving-wise of that season. 78-yard reception for Chase, I believe, against Vanderbilt. And Chris Hilton had one even 3 yards more. But there was a crazy statistic. Only Jontre Kirkland, Joe Burrow, and Matt Flynn have thrown 3 touchdowns in a bowl game for LSU. That's sick. I get it. There's some guys who didn't have a chance, an opportunity to play in a bowl game last year, or they opted out of one. I don't care. John Trey Kirkland was there. He took advantage of that moment, and he's become an LSU legend forever. I mean, the 13 baby. I mean, he lit Kansas State up. I mean, how embarrassing for them to be thrown 3 touchdowns on him. I mean, Malik Neighbors with that diving catch as well. He's another guy who showed out. Hilton, he played here and there, and that was his only catch. And it was great to see him out there. I believe he had a jet sweep or something at one point. Let's see what he. Oh, I think that play was probably taken back because of a flag or something, but I know he got the ball another time that he had at least like 8 or 9 yards on, but I think it got taken back by a flag. But Malik Neighbors and Chris Hilton both have these nights where not everything went their way, but then they have these dynamic touchdowns that just show everything, put it right on the plate of what they can provide to this team next year. And I am so excited to watch these receivers. They're going to ball out even more, especially with a quarterback. Look at Miles, Garrett, Walker. I mean, hell, start Walker freshman. I don't care. Put him out there. Like, this dude is such a baller. Everybody made such a there was a big deal about Garrett Nussmeier not playing in this game. Whispers that, hey, he's actually going to play, all this showing of number 5, and it was just program play, making him feel good about the decision and that he's there for the future. And that's great and all, but we could have really used him bad. I get you don't want to burn a red shirt on a game like that, and but it does say a lot about the guys who did play, who did give everything. I mean, I'm just watching Jacoby and Guillory just throw this dude to the ground. I mean, Jacoby and Guillory, he's another guy who had a very lively night out there, didn't he? He was everywhere. I mean, up the nose, playing in the 3-tech. Guillory, he proved what he can do out there. And OJULARI, I mean, just what a game from BJ OJULARI. The defensive line were playing some serious snaps out there, and they didn't light up the stat book like I was hoping or thought that they would, but OJULARI, he gets his 7th sack of the season, had some electric pressures, 6 tackles as well, cleaning up in the running game. But, LSU, lack of depth, really just lack of depth, and then lack of anything on offense, lack of anybody in the passing game who can shut down the receivers who were just – the receivers from Kansas State were just very average, but – Kurt Warner's son and stuff and people like that are actually, pretty damn good. But against our DBs, even our 7th and 8th guys probably shouldn't be showing out like they did. And it's just, it was a hard night as an LSU fan, 42-20, even though there was these bright moments and these bright spots for the future. 42-20 is an indictment of the manner in which Coach Ed Orgeron left this roster. There's no getting away from it. There's no defense. There's no, I don't want to hear that. Okay, you don't have to hear that. Just look at what happened last night. That can never happen again at LSU. Think that guy gives a damn about LSU? I mean, John Trey Kirkland should have never been thrown in that position like that. But you know what? He embraced it, and he turned it into a positive, legendary moment against the grain. And that's why he's a Tiger forever. And there's so many guys out there who did that. They were put out there in a shitty situation. Jay Ward, you saw it where he's having to run around and do everything. And so he was probably looking defeated at times. And it's like, you know what? He was balling the whole game. 9 tackles, 2 pass breakups. He was showing out as Jay Ward always does. And I know he doesn't feel good about what happened last night. I was talking to him, and I know it hurt, but at the same time, I think he has a perspective on this where he knows that, like, we did something special in a way last night. You know, we were able to go out there with 38 guys, compete our asses off, play every snap. It doesn't really matter about the record books or whoever is looking at that. There's going to be some scouts who watch that game and like, Jay Ward is my type of safety for the next level. It's exactly why I believe he should come back next year, because I feel like Jay Ward, with another year, would be the complete safety. Complete. I think he already, you can already say he is. But with another year under his belt doing what he already is doing, sky is the limit. But, you know, we really got to highlight this guy. We really got to highlight this guy, Quinton Pig Cage. Okay. We interviewed him. His first interview as a Tiger when he first joined, transferring from Nicholls State, a Rummel High Raider, you know, teammate of Jamar Chase and Coy Moore. Quinton Pig Cage goes out there, 6 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack. He absolutely destroyed the backfield with some brilliant edge blitzes, forced this intentional grounding with this brilliant sack where he just twists around the guy and just rips him to the ground. Got banged up on the play even, but he came back in. 3 tackles for loss from Pig Cage. He was out there erasing fools. It was great to see. You know, once again, our DBs were not perfect in coverage, but how could you be when you're having to play every single play? There's no rotation. We went into this game with 2 cornerbacks, 2 scholarship corners. 2 scholarship corners. Like, I cannot believe that happened. And, you know, it's very interesting when Brian Kelly was asked in the interview about what was going on. The first thing he did was go, well, you know, like this huge sigh, like, oh, it's been a lot of work, you know, just like, oh God, you know. And he's like, you know, very complete, you know, I've been trying to keep this recruiting class together. I've been trying to do this. And it's like, people can talk about 38th recruiting class in the country all they want, whatever. I feel like what Brian Kelly did to keep that class together was epic. And then, you know, you're going forward and you've got those pieces. Walker Howard, Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Bo Bordelon, Fitz West, Jordan Allen, LaTerrence Welch. You know, you got some really good pieces for the future here. And Demario Tolan was ready to go out and suit up and go knock some heads last night. Demario Tolan was ready to go ball out. You got Sage Ryan coming back as well. Mason Smith. Jaquelin Roy was looking like a freak of nature out there last night. I mean, Booty's coming back at receiver. Jack Besh. Malik Neighbors, who can absolutely erase people after the catch. If you think LSU is going to be in the doldrums for long, you're fooling yourself. Okay? Just need a quarterback. Just need to settle some things down. Just need to get the depth back on this roster. You know, there's a development where Austin Thomas, good friend of the LSU Odyssey program, Austin Thomas, general manager, good friend to pretty much everybody around LSU. This guy is well beloved. He's gone. He's leaving for the 2nd time in 4 years, I believe, from LSU, and it sucks. I hate to see Austin Thomas go. I don't think any of these roster problems are on him. I believe these roster issues are completely on Coach Ed Orgeron meddling and all the just stuff that was allowed to fester. The disorganization, the lack of communication. It became this festering sinkhole between the athletic department, football program and what the players were left with under Coach O. And I think all of those changes, it doesn't have to always include, there's some good people who are being cut out, I believe. And I believe Austin Thomas is one of those good people who should have kept his job at LSU. At the end of the day, this could be Austin wanting to leave. I haven't asked that type of question or anything like that. But I just wish him all the best because he's a great guy, and LSU are losing a really good one here. Brian Kelly, you could see him watching what was going down last night with fascination, with bewilderment, and just, oh God, when another interception happens right as he's talking, it was a very, very intriguing conversation where Kelly was basically just saying, this is what my plan is. This is what my vision is. And it was very simple laid out. And I like the direction LSU's going in. It's back to basics, but it's back to basics, but with innovation. It's not, we're not calming down on the innovation and, go completely bonehead primitive. I think this is pedal to the metal into the future that I'm liking. It's hard to describe this type of sense that I have, but if you know anything about Mike Denbrock's play calling, it's like, it reminds me of Steve Ensminger, to the jugular type play calling, just, very, very opportunistic, very situational. I love it. And very balanced too. And I think with these quarterbacks, with these receivers, with these running backs coming back, Corey Kiner, Amani Goodwin, John Emery Jr., it's going to be a lit offense. I think there's going to be some freshmen potentially starting on the O-line. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be more than fine. I think you could see Will Campbell start and be a freshman All-American. You could see Emory Jones do the same. You could see Fitz West do the same at center. I believe that in my heart of hearts. I really believe that those three, potentially four with Bo Bordelon, but then you also got Miles Frazier coming in. Talk of Notre Dame's transfer as well coming in. I mean, there's just so many names. That's the thing is LSU fans are getting caught up in what we just saw. That will never happen again. I'm telling you. We are moving forward into something where it's like, okay, you're going to get used to being fully loaded, to going out and saying, we're going to get these best players. Boom, 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 boom. That news is going to be breaking left and right of the guys that LSU are bringing in. I'm telling you, okay? I mean, I look at my phone right now, and I'm telling you, there'll be some type of something telling me, hey, man, we're looking into this guy. We're looking into this guy, Jared Verse. We're looking into this other guy. There's some names from Notre Dame who are attracting LSU, of course. Brian Polian and Mike Denbrock and everybody recruiting. And, Jamar Cain comes in. Run game coordinator, defensive line coach. I mean, he wanted that run game coordinator title. That's very interesting to me. It's like, I want that responsibility. And when you say Jamar Cain, doesn't it make you think like you just participated in a murder already? Like Jamar Cain, like his name is just badass. Jamar Cain. Like I don't know. I like where this is going. I feel like Quincy Wiggins too. When you look at like what Quincy Wiggins could provide with this defensive line group already. I've got another question though too. Where was Bryce Langston last night? He was on the roster list. We hardly saw him. Where was he last night? Did he register a statistic? Avery Atkins had a tackle. Nick Demas had a tackle. Philip Webb had a tackle. But he didn't. That's just weird that he can't see the field. Why is Bryce Langston not being used at all by LSU? It's very weird. There's players out there that we wanted to see. We saw Matthew Langlois in there for a few reps at safety. One of them, LSU did get burned on for a pretty big passing play, but I don't think Matt was in coverage, if I remember correctly. But he was kind of running after the guy from behind, so maybe he was. But we saw a lot of different guys go in there. Derek Davis Jr. was in there at the end of the game. Number 6 in there at safety. You saw a wide range of guys in there, but I feel like just not enough. I feel like there could have been a better rotation actually to help these guys out. Oh, wow. I got some questions. Sorry, guys. I didn't see any of this. T-Max Sanchez is asking, where was Antoine Sampah? Whatever happened to him? T-Mac, I've been talking to Sampah for since he was a freshman. And at first it was here and there, and then it became kind of more this offseason. And a lot was expected of him coming into the year. A lot was kind of predicted. Everybody was excited to see what he could do. And I got to be honest with you, this knee injury he had in high school just continues to just wreak havoc on him and his future. And I think he needed extended time away to get that surgery and get that knee cleaned out. But from what I've heard, there were some things to me thinking transfer, but I'm not reporting or saying that he's going to transfer. If I will, you will see me report that. But right now, it looks like he's just going to return to LSU and be fine with that, and just kind of get his knee back to where it should be. That's my vibe. But at the same time, I also did pick up another kind of little transfer-y kind of feeling. But we'll see. Robert LeBlanc asks, who do you think is most likely to win starting quarterback job for 2022? You mean, Robert? I'm assuming you mean this next coming season. Well, with Miles Nussmeier, hopefully, and then Walker Howard, that's a great selection of quarterbacks. And most people would say Miles without hesitation. Me, I'm not going to do that. Walker Howard's just that good. Garrett Nussmeier is pretty damn good as well. Miles is not coming back, though, to settle for anything less than a starting job. And I think, knowing Brian Kelly, he already has a plan in place for Walker. And I think that plan in place is going to include Miles Brennan starting this season, showing Walker the ropes, and then Walker comes in. At the same time, I could see Kelly, being like, wow, okay, Walker is ready, and going full Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley with him, and just starting him as a freshman and letting him go to town and go to work. Play every second he can for that team, And I think that's what I would do if I was, coaching Walker Howard. Is I would measure where he is health-wise with that leg, and I think his leg will be more than fine. And really just see what's going on with the quarterbacks, how good Miles Brennan is, everything. And to be honest, for me, if it was my choice, I'm starting Walker Howard. I don't care. I really don't care if we lost 5 games. I want to start Walker and let him figure it out as quickly as possible and just get into that era and let Walker go win us a few championships. I really believe that Walker Howard will at least win LSU one college football playoff championship during his tenure. I firmly believe that. You cannot look at his tandem with Jack Besh and feel otherwise. You just can't, especially with all the other talent around too for LSU. Can you imagine Walker and Booty? Walker and Booty with Jack Besh? I mean, are you serious? Just those three guys right there. That's a hell of an offense. But then you add Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., who should have caught that touchdown. Come on, catch that touchdown, bro. Come on, Brian. They're trying to get you a touchdown. Chantre was trying to get you a touchdown. But there's so much talent all over the board here for this LSU team, even with Deion Smith leaving, or this guy, Chris Hilton Jr. is a guy I didn't even say, and he caught that brilliant touchdown last night and is going to be a sick player, and he could absolutely be one of the best receivers of the entire core. Any of these guys can be the number one receiver on their day, and that's what makes this receiving core so dangerous next year. Any of those guys can back up Kayshawn just fine, and Jeray Jenkins will probably stay another year too. I wouldn't be shocked if Jeray stays another year either. So you're going to have a very thick, very deep wide receiving core. And LSU right now, we're very close to picking up another transfer wide receiver. I'll let you know about that as soon as I can. That's not my story to break, at least until a few things happen. But LSU are very close to closing in on a transfer wide receiver right now. And it's a position of need, and we got to bring in a guy now. And there's a few DBs on their mind. I think they're going to let Kerry Cooks kind of make that decision in tandem, in course with Brian Kelly. But, you're going to be looking at O-linemen, DBs, and, of course, receivers that LSU are going to look to pull in the transfer portal here. SMU Fan Videos asks LSU Odyssey question. Who do you think will sign in February? It's kind of a bust month, isn't it? I really feel LSU won't pick up many guys, and I think that's fine. I'm not thinking like Jacoby Matthews flips or Harold Perkins, but it'd be great. At this point, if you want to go to Texas A&M, like that's go right ahead. Like, I'm not going to try and persuade guys who have Louisiana roots or from Louisiana to stay and play it for LSU. If you want to stay and play for LSU, fantastic. And come legend status. If not, then that's fine. That's fine as well. Dog going nuts. With recruiting for LSU, who will sign in February? To me, it is immaterial. I mean, there's a few guys on my mind who I'd love to have, but if they want to come to LSU, that's great. We'd love to have them. If not, okay. And that's the mindset last night kind of helped me, really grasp more of it. This team were left out there for the wolves and left out in the cold, just while we're all kind of watching and just seeing, and people are making jokes and all this about the replacement crew. And it's like, there's a lot of guys I think who did a lot of good for their careers last night. Whatever anyone else wants to say about it or say about their station on the roster, I don't think it matters. I think what matters is what they accomplished last night for themselves individually. That's what the game was about, because it fell away from being a collective hope for victory very quickly, sadly. But it was a wild, wild game, wasn't it? I mean, we will never see anything like that again. From the straight up, just the sheer number of absences, the sheer number of walk-ons playing, a wide receiver playing quarterback. Okay, a wide receiver playing quarterback, and that's all you have to say. LSU allowing 42 points in a bowl game. That was the most ever as well. 35 was the record. And, as you're all well aware, this is the first time below 500 in the 21st century. It's a shocker. It's a shocker. It's a gut wrencher. But what happened last night taught me a lot about some of these guys coming back next year. There's a lot of talent on this team. Even Demarius McGee, he had some good moments out wide as well. 5 tackles, I believe it was what he finished with. He got burnt on a few of these big plays, but at the same time, he had some big plays. Greg Penn, the third, with that awesome kickoff return stop, grabbing the guy's legs. He had 7 tackles quietly, but he played almost every rep out there. He was playing nonstop. It was great experience for Greg Penn the third. Fantastic experience. Sony Fanua playing in his final appearance as well. 3 tackles. He had a few pressures. Mike Jones Jr., it was, he had 1 quarterback hit, 3 pressures. He looked pretty good, 3 tackles, but you wanted to see more from him. But we at least got to see an extended view of Mike Jones Jr., and he's another just fantastic talent coming back. A guy I wish we would have saw more of, Philip Webb. Philip Webb, I don't even think he got more reps than, kickoff, punt return, special teams. I don't think he got any more than that, sadly. And he's a guy who was fantastic when he received a bunch of reps against McNeese. But outside of that, he hasn't gotten very much play at all this season or last season. It's basically been 2 seasons straight where this guy has barely even played at all. That has to be rectified. This is a guy with OJULARI-esque tools, and I mean that even more seriously than with ZAVIER Carter. ZAVIER Carter, he's a little too thin to have those kind of thick OJULARI attributes. Whereas this guy, Webb, I feel like he absolutely could fulfill that. But we've barely seen him over 2 years. We'll be lucky if he stays with us. You're going to see some guys transfer because of decisions like that. You're going to see things like that go on. LSU's roster shuffle is far from over with. But closing the chapter on one of the darkest bowl games you'll ever see, one of the craziest, most sickoest games you could ever even imagine or predict. A wide receiver playing quarterback. Only 2 scholarship cornerbacks on roster. Only 2 scholarship running backs on roster. Oh my God, the list goes on and on and on of just madness that unfolded. But at the same time, what a hell of a watch at times, because we will never see that again. We will never see this again. So it was beautiful in its ugliness. It was beautiful in its decadence, its madness. So I appreciated what happened last night just for the sheer sense of reality of where the program is at and what Coach Ed Orgeron did to the program, and kind of laying that bare for the whole college football world to see. I think is it helps clean that slate for the Brian Kelly era to begin. And from now on, it's all Kelly era. The season is over. That long, hard 2021 season one of the most turbulent wild seasons in LSU's history after a 2020 season, which was one of the most turbulent and wild seasons of all time in LSU history. It's going to finally settle down, and things are going to be back to the way they should. You're going to see this roster fill up here over the next few months. There's going to be a lot of names maybe you've never heard of, maybe guys you've always wanted, but there's going to be guys coming to LSU left and right. Get ready. Yeah, we'll be talking more about Kansas State and what happened, and we're gonna count down our favorite performers of the game on the website. They're on LSUODYSSEY.com. Definitely check us out there. Subscribe with us as well. We cannot continue it without your help, just like all of this stuff. How else could it continue? This stuff costs money. If you believe in it, support us. And you can do that at LSUODYSSEY.com, right there on the subscribe tab. We've got an unlimited library of over 800 writings, videos, just about almost any LSU Tiger event, player, game, anything you can think of. Extensive stuff on NFLSU, all these NFL players showing out at the next level, especially Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase there in Cincinnati. Extensive stuff on the 2019, 2020, 2018 teams, and of course, this last season. We've got it all on there. A bunch of exclusive interviews with Tiger legends, their families, Tiger coaches, high school recruits, 5-star players, incoming LSU freshmen. We've got it all on there. LSUODYSSEY.com, baby. Thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic night. Go